Well, I just got back from seeing Venom Let There Be Carnage, and I really liked it. It was pretty good. No, I'm not one of those people who hates the first Venom. I don't think it's a great movie, but I also don't think it's that bad. It's a very mediocre superhero movie, and I enjoyed it when I originally watched it, but it left me at the end feeling really rushed and a little confused. But thankfully, this movie didn't leave me feeling like that. I actually left the theater feeling nice and excited. I was very happy with the story I just watched unfold in front of my eyes, and what's to come in the future. I'm going to come to you guys with my fresh thoughts right after seeing the movie, and we'll get into what I did and didn't like. Number 1, the relationship between Eddie and Venom in this movie is even better than the first one. In the first movie, their relationship didn't make much sense, because the plot kind of rushed them along to become best friends by the end, but this movie shows that the characters have a strong love-hate relationship with each other. They're together so they can survive, but they're constantly fed up with each other's bullshit. And it's really entertaining and fun to watch two brains in one head bicker with each other the entire time.
Tom Hardy does a really nice job playing both Venom and Eddie in this film. And I really appreciate how they feel like two completely separate characters and not just one big alien monster.
Woody Harrelson's a delight in this film, being the crazy Cletus Cassidy, who once killed his grandma, hanged his dog, and has just done a whole bunch of other awful shit. He had two main objectives in this film, that was marrying his girlfriend Shriek and killing off Eddie Brock because he got him the death sentence. Woody's performance is pretty memorable in this movie. He did everything he could for a character whose main trait is being incredibly violent. And Shriek was fine. She doesn't really have any depth or personality backing her up in this film, so she's just the extra guy. Her main personality trait is that she loves Cletus like unconditionally, and that her and Carnage don't really get along because of her powers and his weaknesses. She's mostly just Cletus's motivation, and that's all.
I really wish Carnage could have had his own personality too. He doesn't really do anything besides obsess over the fact that he wants to kill Venom because it's his dad or whatever. But cinematically watching him was a lot of fun. So other than the main characters, this movie was goofy as shit. The first movie takes itself way too seriously, but this film takes advantage of the fact that it's silly and fun. It feels straight out of the pages of a comic book. Some shit is just extremely absurd, and it's absolutely great. This movie takes being goofy up to 11 and fully embraces some comic book nonsense. The end of the movie is literally a wedding. Also, there are just certain lines in this film that are super corny and stupid, but I also just kind of appreciate them.
Death to you, Father. No! Not you, Father. You, Father.
There's a part where Carnage grabs a guy, bites his head off, and then says, "Power up!" and then beats the shit out of Venom. That's a scene I'll never forget. Also, Venom himself just acts like a big toddler when he's on Earth and doesn't understand why he can't just run around eating people's heads off. And that is a little bit repetitive from the first film, but it's done a lot better here than it was the first time. Also, at one point, Cletus Cassidy literally says the name of the movie to Eddie Brock, and I just thought that was really stupid, but it just made me laugh. Hell, Cletus and Carnage make me laugh for being so unrealistically evil. I really enjoyed how Cletus and Shriek couldn't do their own thing because her powers conflicted with Carnage. Like, she'd start to use her powers and then Carnage would be like, "Yo, shut up, bitch!" and slap her in the face. So Cletus and Carnage didn't get along because he just smacked his wife across the room. So that rocky road relationship ends up leaving all three characters... Yep, Shriek gets crushed by a falling bell. And Venom vores Cletus and Carnage. What is it with these movies and fetishes? There's only one thing I don't really understand, and that has to do with Venom and Eddie. At one point, the two guys get into a massive fight, and Venom ends up leaving Eddie behind in his apartment and tries to survive with a bunch of other hosts. We get to watch Venom experience planet Earth now that he's free from Eddie. And all of his new hosts keep dying because he doesn't have a bond with them. There's a scene of Venom missing Eddie, and he really just wants him to see how happy he is now that he's free. But Eddie doesn't really miss Venom. He thinks his life is better without him. The only reason he wants Venom back is because he's locked up in police custody and he knows that Cletus is coming to murder him. Venom wants to be back together because he sees similarities between him and Eddie and he wants to be friends again, where Eddie just wants him back because if he doesn't get Venom back, he's dead. I don't know, but we get to see Venom missing Eddie. I just wish there was a scene of Eddie missing Venom, or at least something in the beginning that made them both be like, yeah, I like this guy back. But whatever, they make up and then they beat the shit out of Carnage, so who cares? I think that pretty much wraps up my thoughts about this movie. I'm really excited to see what's coming next for Venom and all the characters in these films. With Detective Mulligan being teased as Toxin at the very end of this film, the spawn of Carnage, and that crazy-ass post-credit scene of Venom and Eddie being transported to the MCU. Yeah, that was crazy, that was nuts. I'm really excited to see what's coming in the future.
Now, although I have a lot of enjoyment for this movie, I think overall I get Venom Let There Be Carnage a 4 out of 10. No. A 5 out of 10.
Teach me how to duck. Teach me how to duck.
Everybody love me. Everybody love me.